Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane, DC Direct, DC Multiverse, Page Puncher, Black Manta, and not only that, this is the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, line art, sketch variant. This is a gold label figure, so let's take a look at the packaging. It's in the sort of Page Puncher clamshell. You can see the top, DC, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, includes comic book in the English language. This is a gold label release. A gold label figure is simply a retailer exclusive, whether it be Target or Walmart. This particular gold label is a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive. DC Direct, Black Manta. Here he is in the package. He has a couple blades, a big sort of trident, display stand, collector's card, and then, I believe, a comic. Not much going on the sides. At the back, you can see the black and white version of the Aquaman comic. At the bottom, a bunch of credits, and there's his barcode, if that happens to help anybody. So no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He comes with a display stand, a collector's card, a comic book, his sort of trident or spear, and then two blades that are removable from his wrists. But before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Black Manta. This is a unique version designed by McFarlane Toys for their Page Puncher Aquaman wave. I'd say this version of Black Manta looks very good. It's very well detailed. It's maybe a little bit too busy. It has a lot of armor pieces, etc., etc. I prefer a little more basic Black Manta from the Aquaman 2 wave, but they're both very nice figures. Not only that, but this is a McFarlane Toy Store exclusive black and white sketch line art version. This is the only line art version, I guess, besides Mr. Freeze, that isn't an Entertainment Earth exclusive. That being said, let's take a look. So, starting with his head here, he's got the signature Black Manta helmet. Very wide, very sort of bug-eyed. Kind of looks like a praying mantis. As we go further down, he's got split black and white on his head, as well as his neck, and then his torso going down. He has these large white blades connected into his wrists or forearms. A lot of texturing on the figure here. You can really see it without the paint job. Texturing on the parts that are sort of below the armor. As a whole, the figure looks very good. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. You can see the sort of little fin thing coming off the back of his leg. Like I said, as a whole, it's a pretty good looking figure. I prefer a little bit more comic accurate basic version, but this is a very nice version as well. Definitely prefer the color one to this one, but they're both pretty good. And a closer look at his face, helmet, and head sculpt. Sculpt very nice. Has that black and white sketch paint job. Kind of reminiscent of Two-Face to a point. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's take a look at his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. Typical McFarlane stand we've seen plenty of times before. It's a black circle, very thin, very basic. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's a black and white image of Black Manta. Black Manta on the back. We have a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. And here's his Page Puncher line art version of Black Manta's collector card on the left, next to the original version on the right. Now for his comic. I believe this is a unique comic made by McFarlane's team. Aquaman #1. This is now, I think, the 5th cover variant you can get. As you can see, Aquaman #1 on the front. You can see Ocean Master, Black Manta, Aqualad, and Aquaman. And an interesting thing about this comic, obviously it's done in black and white line art sketch version, but this one doesn't come in its own protective bag. It's not sealed, which is interesting because this is probably going to be the rarest of all 5 for this wave. And here are all the different comics from this wave. We have the 4 from the original wave, all the normal color versions, and then we have the line art Black Manta in the center here. I find it interesting they didn't just release the same Black Manta cover in black and white, they made a whole new cover with all 4 of the characters. Here's Black Manta's sort of spear. As you can see, the blade is very intricate, done in a white paint job, and then the handle is done a black paint job. Nice texturing where he's going to hold it in the 2 different places. Overall, I'd say it looks pretty good, pretty unique. Here it is, next to the original painted version. Here's Black Manta holding that spear. Now for his blades. He has 2 of them. They're removable from his forearm. The blade itself is done a white paint job, a little bit of black at the top, and you can see the peg that will attach to his arm. Here's Black Manta with those two blades attached. Now I wanted to check out the differences between this new line art Black Manta and the original version. And besides the obvious paint differences, there are no other differences. They're 100% the same figure, same sculpt, and same articulation. So let's take a look. Starting with their heads, they have that sort of awkward looking Black Manta signature helmet. Tubes tied to the back. You can see this guy here, his black paint job, some red, some silver. This guy, pure black and white. The texturing is very nice on the suit. But like I said, exact same figure. A lot of details left off, like those little boosters on the back. Still, they're both pretty cool, but this one is way better in my book. Now they've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, now for his height. From bottom to the top of his helmet, standing about 7.3, 7.4 inches tall, which can translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, you can rotate from side to side. He's got those tubes on the back, but you can turn his head so far before that becomes an issue. You can look up and down a pretty good amount. You can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint. The shoulder pads are soft, completely get out of the way. Goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. He's got a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. His wrist can rotate and is going to be hinged as well. His torso, he's got a ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist. Rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in his torso area. Get a little more out of the torso than the waist on this guy. Legs, complete of splits. McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is non-existent. They go forward about that much. Back not much. Double jointed knees below that. And his ankles, forward and back. Tilt, rock. Rotate. And of course, to articulation. Here are the four of these figures in an underwater type setting. Aquaman and Aqualad taking on Ocean Master and the Black Manta. And here's a look at both the line art Black Manta figure and the original Page Puncher in an underwater type setting. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other sketch black and white line art figures. Here's Black Manta next to the line art version of Mr. Freeze. This is the only other McFarlane line art figure and the only other Page Puncher figure to get this treatment, and the only one that's not Entertainment Earth exclusive. So if they follow the current formula, any line art Page Punchers will be McFarlane Toy Store exclusives, and then the regular McFarlane line art figures are going to be Entertainment Earth exclusives. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Here's Black Manta next to the sketch Rebirth Superman and the Batman Who Laughs. This was the first wave of figures offered at Entertainment Earth. Next, they released the White Knight Batman. This figure was available just by himself in no wave. Then, the most recent sketch figures are going to be the Todd McFarlane designed Batman and the Three Jokers Joker. This is the next wave at Entertainment Earth. They also made this sketch Throne Spawn. This is also an Entertainment Earth exclusive, not part of the Multiverse line, but matches the aesthetics of the best of these figures. Now a couple of figures from the first wave of Page Punchers got a similar treatment. Not exactly the same, not the line art, but I would still call them sketch variants. We have Batman and Black Adam. These were Target and Walmart exclusives. And finally, here he is next to a DC Direct, Jim Lee, New 52 Batman, sketch version. Here are all of the different line art figures Todd McFarlane has made so far. We have a total of 8 of them, 7 of which are in the Multiverse line. The next one to come out is going to be the Hazmat Suit Batman. Here are all of the different black and white, sketch, or line art figures that I have, most of which are from McFarlane, one from DC Direct. Now let's check them out, next to some other Black Manta figures. Here's the Page Puncher line art Black Manta, next to the fully colored version. And here he is, next to the Aquaman of the Lost Kingdom movie Black Manta. A little more basic version, a little more comic accurate. This is my favorite one of the McFarlane Black Manta figures. So here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Black Manta figures. Now, I don't see them making any more anytime soon, as they pretty much covered the basics, but we actually don't have a legit comic version. The Page Puncher one is kind of based off the comics, but it's based off Todd's comic. And the movie one looks very much like a comic version, so I think I'm good on Black Manta figures by McFarlane. Then, next to a DC Direct, New 52 Black Manta. And now, next to a couple of Mattel Black Manta figures. Here are all the different Black Manta figures that I have by McFarlane, DC Direct, and Mattel. Now let's check them out next to some other Page Punchers. Here he is, next to the first wave of Page Punchers. This is a Black Adam themed wave. Every single figure in this wave has a variant, except for Constantine. And here he is, next to the second wave of Page Punchers. This is Injustice 2 wave. Green Arrow, Batman, Supergirl, and Dr. Fate. Then, with the third wave of Page Punchers, this is a Flash themed wave. Flash, Atom, Heatwave, Gorilla Grodd, and both versions of Captain Cold. And now, with the fourth wave of Page Punchers, that's where this Black Manta fits in. This is an Aquaman themed wave. We have Aquaman, Aqualad, Black Manta, and Ocean Master. And finally, next to the fifth wave of Page Punchers, this is a Batman themed wave, Fighting the Frozen. We have Batman, both versions of Batgirl, Robin, and both versions of Mr. Freeze. Now word is, the sixth wave of Page Punchers is going to be a Superman themed wave, although that thing seems to be pushed back to next year at this point. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some DST or Diamond Select toys. Here's Black Manta, next to my black and white line art sketch cat. And here he is, with some DC Direct and some NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Then, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, next to some SH figure arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a cool Black Manta figure, but I'm not a huge fan of the sketch or line art figures. Some of them look pretty good. I'd say Black Manta is in the top half for sure. My favorite couple are going to be the Comedian Joker and the Todd McFarlane designed Batman. Black Manta is probably right underneath them. His articulation is everything you expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. Accessories are cool. 2 different sets of weapons. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. I don't see any issues there. If I were to rate this guy, probably going to be a 6 out of 10, which is maybe a little bit on the generous side, as I'm not a huge fan of these figures. They're just sort of there. You can't use them in your regular action figure scenarios. They're just there for your collection, and if you like the variants, which I do, they're for you. They're not for most people. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.